The critic. While most are content with trivial matters like film, food, or literature, one man dares to review all facets of life's rich tapestry at your behest. In the face of life's greater challenges, there is one critic you can turn to.
I'm Myles Barlow. Welcome to Review.
Coming up in the program, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And later, get the tissues ready, it's time to milk some tears. But first...
This letter comes from Salam Habib, who writes, Dear Myles, having just finished my medical degree, I'm considering taking up a position in rural New South Wales. The relative solitude and the fresh air appeal to me, but I'm a bit daunted about leaving the city. What can I expect from such a radical lifestyle change? Yours, Salam. Treechange. What are the effects of getting away from it all?
Heading into the unfettered tranquility of the countryside, my cares and woes began to fall away, left behind with the hustle and bustle of the city. I was looking forward to the solitude of a more reclusive lifestyle. Or so I'd hoped.
Welcome, neighbour. Ted and Maureen Higgins.
Famous blueberry sponge.
Oh, right.
Thought you might like to come over for a barbie tonight. Bev and Don from next door will be there.
Well, we expect to see you there.
What do you say?
Unfortunately, country folk are often annoyingly hospitable. I needed to venture even further off the beaten track. The spectacular, yet largely inhospitable remoteness of southwest Tasmania would ensure I was not disturbed by such annoyances. I've settled on this unique location with a desirable northerly aspect and unlimited potential. And Maureen's sponge cake is delicious to boot. After a soggy first evening, I set about exploring my new neighbourhood. Compared to the city, the dining had a rustic simplicity. And the local golf course was somewhat below par. But after several months, I'd settled into my new community. But while my surroundings were beautiful, it wasn't easy to make friends.
Hello, Mr. Flappy. We'll see you later then.
I began to miss human interaction.
Talking to birds now, Myles? Oh, yes, hello, Mr. Rock. You're looking mossy today. Oh, here comes the wind. We forgot about him. You're late for breakfast, Mr. Wind. Like I say, I've cooked you up some bacon and eggs. I'm very sorry, Myles. I've been down at the South Pole all morning where I've been whipping up a storm. Well, that's okay. I've got some berries for breakfast, and I'll...
Loneliness had set in, as had gangrene. Unfortunately, healthcare standards lag behind those of the city. But while I managed to turn my diseased digit into a grisly treat, I was unable to avoid the skewed reality I was descending into.
Oh. You don't know what you're talking about. You make it very difficult to be friends with you sometimes, Percy. Did you know that? Get lost.
The tires of solitude began to wear thin.
Percy, wait.
Until soon my mental state was unlikely to pass Regia.
Him and his friends. Oh!
In fact, I think I may have gone completely insane had I not met Linda. Through photosynthesis, Linda quite literally produced the breath of fresh air I needed.
I hope you don't mind, but I noticed you from across the forest there. Well, here's cheers. Big, yes, big, okay.
I relished the new companionship.
Big Big trouble in Little China. Yes.
We had so much in common.
I love that film. Do you? Yes, well, it does taste like a Bordeaux. In fact, it's my own blend of wallaby blood and some berries I've pulped up.
I was wining and dining my leafy lady.
Linda, medium or well done? Yeah, me too. Might I say, Linda, you look absolutely exquisite this evening. What a beautiful dress. A little translucent at the edges there. That's a little bit flirtatious, Linda. Did you wear that on purpose? I'm sorry. Where are my manners? I've had too much to drink.
My bond with nature knew no bounds as I took tree hugging to a new level.
Oh, Linda.
Time passed. What began as a tree change was now an established way of life. Linda and I had even talked about raising saplings of our own.
Darling, I'm home. I hope you're hungry.
But then,
Because-
Linda had her angry side too.
So we're just going to sit here in silence all evening? I am out there trying to hunt food for us so that we can survive.
Perhaps I was too sophisticated for
If
her.
I'm home a little late, I'm sorry, but...
She was just a small-town girl after all.
Fine. You be that way.
Or perhaps there was something else going on. She'd been seeing a rugged, deciduous type behind my back. Not only had Linda's affair left me heartbroken, she'd given me a nasty rash.
Oh, hello, darling. Yes, I've just been down to the river to have a look at the blue flax lilies. They've begun to flower.
But the locals weren't about to get the best of this out-of-towner.
Oh, hello, sir. I don't believe we've met. Myles. Romeo. Of course. Well, Romeo, there's somebody I'd like you to meet. Are you happy now? Look what you made me do!
I disposed of Romeo's lifeless trunk. But in a small town, word spreads like wildfire. Romeo's brothers. They'd heard. And they were angry. But not as angry as their father. The locals had turned. I had to get away. Finally, I emerged into a clearing. It turns out I'd been living less than 3 kilometers from civilization this whole time. I quickly realized I'd been missing the finer things I'd long been accustomed to.
Oi! Oi! Well, you can't just eat the produce. Oi! Settle down!
Like the lone horse of solitude galloping through the fields of tranquility, a tree change paints a delightful picture. However, you soon realise it's just that, a picture, hanging crookedly on a dentist's wall of isolation as they extract the wisdom teeth of disappointment. By the time you've realised this, the horse has bolted onto the ship of insanity that sailed several months before its scheduled departure time. So, Salam, if it's solitude you seek, I suggest you stay in the unfriendly city of polite reservation, where you'll be left to your own devices, but you can still get a decent latte after 5 p.m. 2 stars. Throwing a pair of shoes over a power line is a mysterious act of intrigue and delinquency. 4 stars.
Or 2 caps, mate.
Oh, no, I'm not a drug dealer. Early this week, I spoke to Deborah Norman, who lamented that her young son, Banjo, had become a graffiti artist. She's concerned as to what this vandalism might lead to. Art. Can one forge a career in this often indefinable field? Art is a deeply personal, creative pursuit.
Okay. Did you know that this was an advanced drawing class?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm just not 100% sure that this is your medium.
She was right. I simply lacked the skills to develop as a traditional artist. I needed to find a less conventional form of expression. But finding inspiration was like finding a needle in a haystack, or in my case, the gutter. Such euphoric highs, such bitter misery. This used syringe had seen it all. Glinting in the light, its fragile beauty was speaking to me. Myles, you should become a pretentious statement artist. Sticking with the first idea that popped into my head, I went with the whole light thing, turning my used syringes into a chandelier of misery. Once finished, I slapped a price tag on it, and voila, it was ready for exhibition. In no time at all, I had pretentious types lining up to pay a fortune for some junk I'd found on the street.
Myles,
And with a dealer in tow,
I think we'll make a great team, Myles.
I became the toast of the art world.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being here.
Embraced by the art community, the pressure was on to deliver more of my celebrated pieces. But finding quality materials proved challenging. With even the best spots drying up, I had to go straight to the source.
Afternoon, gents. Will you be indulging in any narcotics today?
Nah, man. You a cop?
No, I'm not a police officer. I'm just I have some fresh needles here if you need them. I will need these back afterwards. Pop them in there, please. Oh, that's $20. Hey, no sharing.
Cool, man. We're playing.
What? That's not the point. The reason I gave you extra needles is so you can use one each. More needles, which equals more money for you. It's basic economics, guys.
I continued to churn them out, and they continued to sell. Who knows, perhaps I was a brilliant artist. When enough people tell you, it's hard not to believe the hype.
In different spaces. It is. It's well, thank you. 10 by next week.
But the business side of being an artist can be tricky.
Yes, no, I can do that. That's fine.
With orders piling up and contractual disputes with suppliers,
That hasn't even been used. Yeah, it was. There's no residue on that at all. I'm not paying for that one, so.
I needed to centralise production.
Native guys here.
Yes, greetings all.
Harvesting my own squat junkies was a far more efficient way of working.
There we go, one for you and one for you, sir. If you could just use that before you fall asleep, I'd appreciate it. That's your refill.
I'm kicking it, man.
Well, you say that every week. You can use my belt if you like. But you're gonna have to be quick because I'm double parked, so if you could just hurry that along.
But keeping up with demand was next to impossible. I even resorted to faking my own used needles, completely compromising my artistic integrity.
Well, I really have tried.
But in the eyes of the art world, it seemed I could do no wrong.
Are you all right? Do you have a first aid kit? Is that one already sold?
Untitled Chandelier number 26 was irreparably damaged, as was my career.
Quelle horreur, mais quelle immondice! Ça, c'est de l'art!
After
Oh, mon
that,
Dieu.
not even the French were falling for my pretentious rubbish.
C'est votre opinion. These crown of thorns.
I can't
so
take any more.
What?
No
Why?
one's really interested after what happened to Cindy.
Oh, that's art. I mean, you can't
No, Myles,
worry about...
it's not. She's HIV positive.
Which is very treatable these days. All right, look, if I can just get the check for the ones I have sold and I'll...
There is no
leave you-
check.
I discovered just how fickle the art world could be. One minor casualty had rung the death knell for my career.
You're right, you're commissioned, but I'm the artist. I mean, I'm the one who's doing this. If anyone should be profiting, it's... We're not really interested. Oh, well, if you're after something a bit more domestic, I also have a fruit bowl made of...
No.
You can use your imagination, maracas.
Not interested.
So...
Thanks.
My career as a shock artist had come to a shocking end. I still yearned to be part of the art world, but with no formal training, how could I? Perhaps it was time to go back to basics.
That's great, Joe. I like what you've done there. Right, everyone, let's finish up and change positions.
As an artist, I drew a blank. Canvas, that is, with a paintbrush of pretentiousness. Hailed as avant-garde by the sycophantic sophisticates of insensitivity, the fact it was mounted in a mahogany frame of exploitation meant it was always bound to wind up as a cheap reprint of despair, discarded to the discount bin of backlash in a charity store of bewilderment. Regrettably, creating art meant creating misery. So, Deborah, unless you fancy visiting museums of anguish to view your son's paintings of morbidity, I'd confiscate his spray can of delinquency right away. 2 stars. Merci.
French restaurant runners. A mouth-watering confit of adrenaline and frugality.
Monsieur!
3
Hey,
stars.
monsieur, arrêtez-vous! Stop! Hey! Stop! Arrêtez-vous! Hey!
And now it's time for our letter of the week.
Lacey Dremel of Beaconsfield writes, Dear Myles, this guy at work keeps hassling me to go out on a date with him. He's a lovely guy, just not my type. I like him as a friend, but I don't have the heart to tell him that's all we'll ever be. Maybe I should just go out with him to get him off my back. Lacey. Sympathy. Should we feel sorry for this complex emotion?
Thank you. Support groups such as this one for single dads are a good starting point for seeking out sympathy.
Well, I'm also divorced. I have 2 beautiful young children. Sometimes I'm not so sure they like staying at Daddy's place because, well, I don't have all the, you know, the play box and all the games.
It was comforting to have my feelings validated by the group.
It's hard to keep up.
But support groups can be a competitive arena, with other members often vying for the same sympathy you are.
Hey, you know, she can't do that, mate.
I face stiff competition from recently divorced loser Gary Moon.
State, that's really? Absolutely. You've got rights, you know.
But the contest was about to heat up.
Yeah, we're with you. For God's sake, Myles! Oh my God! Quick, just slip! Get some ice!
Reaching for a sausage.
An injury was a useful tool in gaining sympathy.
Oh, thank you very much, yes. And those as well, thank you.
From moving my fish tank
Let's go to the top of that building up there.
to washing my dog.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind. I was feeling a little peckish, you know.
For the homeless guys, I'm sorry.
Well, I do have rather a nasty...
Even those less fortunate were willing to dish it out. Meanwhile, my one-upmanship with Gary was intensifying.
I'm going to miss my visitation with the kids because, you know, Catherine's taken them away on holidays for a month. So I won't be able to see them until I get back.
I know how you feel, mate. Adele's moved to Adelaide. My baby girl. I'll never see her again.
You'll see her again, mate.
Oh, shh. Catherine's taken the kids to New Zealand, so it's literally overseas.
Still, it's just a holiday, though, isn't it, mate?
It is, but you know...
They'll come back.
Yeah, they'll be back.
You know, that's a long-distance call, and they're very expensive.
Yeah.
And, you know, to talk for any decent amount of time, it really runs up the...
I don't even have a number.
Come on.
Gary was proving a formidable opponent. My seared hand was no match for his arsenal of anguish.
Guys, Gary's not coming in today. He didn't really feel up to it. You know, to be perfectly honest, I'm getting a little worried about it.
Oh, terrible.
You right, Myles?
Sorry, it just still really hurts.
I'm thinking maybe we could raise some money for him, because I know his legal bills are up to around 20 grand at the moment.
20 grand? I mean,
You know,
that's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot of money.
Even in absentia, Gary was able to command the lion's share of the group's sympathy. I needed to claw some of it back.
While I'm still around?
Yes. Sorry, while you're still around, what do you mean?
For maximum sympathy, you just can't beat.
I'm dying.
You're dying?
Mm-hmm.
Is it cancer?
Yes.
I felt despicable deceiving the group like this. But sympathy had become my drug of choice. I needed more. Anyway, anyhow.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right, I'm dying.
Be it injuries or fake illnesses, my thirst for pity drove me to new
This
lows.
foundation is really just designed to help children.
So I got sick too late, did I? Come on, you send these kids to Disneyland all the time. You must have some kind of arrangement.
You want to go to Disneyland?
In hindsight, I was sorry I didn't give my wish more thought. Poor me.
Greetings, gentlemen. I'm back. Well, I've got you a souvenir. Where's Gary? Gary! I was very saddened to hear of Gary's passing, as we all were. But for me, it came at a time when, to be honest, I didn't need any more sadness in my life. Disneyland is often called the happiest place on earth. But friends, I can tell you that it isn't. The queues are terrible. The food is lackluster, and some of the rides extremely disappointing. It's things such as this, Gary, that you'll no longer have to endure, as I must endure, day after day. Thank you. Well played, Gary. This is going to be hard to beat, isn't it?
The dynamic of the group was never quite the same after
Gary,
that.
do you mind getting me another sausage, please?
It seemed my hypochondria was starting to wear thin. My cries for attention
Jesus! Oh my God!
became more and more extreme.
What happened?
Look, it's been a pretty emotional week for all of us here. But I think it's probably a good time to start this meeting with a minute's silence for our friend Gary, who's no longer with us. So...
I made another attempt last night. It's lucky my lawyer dropped around when he did. I really think I'm starting to spiral.
We're trying to have a minute's silence here for Gary and...
Oh, I'm sorry, Dave, but it was on my mind. You know, I've got an injured hand, an injured foot. I'm suicidal. I hardly ever see my kids anymore. I'm dying. And according to something I've read on the internet, I could have ADD.
Oh, for the love of God, is there anything else?
I think what we're trying to say is we're trying to support you, mate, but there comes a point in time when you've got to learn how to support yourself as well.
How many attempts is it this week, Myles?
Well, I'm trying to talk about it with you. We're meant to be a support group. You know.
A man is dead!
Yes, he is. So maybe we should, you know, move on and stop focusing on him and focus on the people who are still here.
This is
having to
a
face their problems.
group session, okay? There is more than just
Yes,
one of us here.
it's meant to be a support group, except I didn't expect to come here and get attacked. I'm sorry I've become such a burden, but...
Myles...
No, you've made your little speech. I'm sorry to have taken up all your time.
Just let him go.
Ow.
Come on, mate.
No, that's fine. You all enjoy your little get-together and reminiscing about Gary. He was always your favourite, wasn't he? You should have known that. You might want to think about getting a ramp put in for people in my condition.
With the group turning its back on me, I was left to feel sorry for myself. I didn't want to worry you.
Oh, God! This is not something you keep from me. Stupid. Is there anything I can do? Anything? Oh, my God.
At first glance, ploys for sympathy may seem harmless, but like a one-legged dairy farmer, the comfort you receive can quickly become a stool for you to sit on, as you milk your friends for all they're worth, massaging their teats of compassion into a bucket of condolence, only to gorge yourself on their warm, frothy lactations in cappuccinos of commiseration and milkshakes of decadence. Of course, the teats soon become red and swollen, chafing as you yank at them like a spoilt child, only to discover you've milked them dry. Fortunately for me, the sympathy of my ex-wife has brought me back to a herd I'd long been braying for, namely living back with her and my 2 children. So, Lacey, be prepared that your sympathy may well lead to more than you've bargained for. 4 stars. Coming up next week, breaking antiques, migrating geese, and I have a look at brutal honesty.
Ugh, he's hideous. Here, take him back.
All that and more next time on Review.